If you ever wondered what I'm like as a teacher, this is how my year is going so far.
Are you gonna teach us anything, or are we just gonna sit here?
Just do whatever you want.
I want to learn from my teacher.
Besides that, Freddie, what do you like to do?
I don't know. Burn stuff?
Just go out and have recess.
My parents don't spend $15,000 a year for recess.
What, you want to learn something?
Yes, I do.
What, you want me to teach you something? You want to learn something? All right, here's a useful lesson for you. Give up. Just quit. Because in this life, you can't win. Yeah, you can try. But in the end, you're just gonna lose big time because the world is run by the man.
Who?
The man. Oh, you don't know the man? Oh, well, he's everywhere. In the White House, down the hall, Miss Mullins, she's the man. And the man ruined the ozone, and he's burning down the Amazon, and he kidnapped Shamu and put her in a chlorine tank, okay? And there used to be a way to stick it to the man. It was called rock and roll. But guess what? Oh, no. The man ruined that, too, with a little thing called MTV. So don't waste your time trying to make anything cool or pure or awesome, because the man's just going to call you a fat, washed-up loser and crush your soul. So do yourselves a favor and just give up!
Bro was going through it. If you've seen the movie, he was going through it at this time, right? He was broke. He lived with his brother, didn't have any money. He was kicked out of the band that he created. He's a little upset. Life had been hard for him, and so he's encouraging other kids whose life haven't started yet to give up. That's kind of crazy. Projection much, right? Just give up because life is gonna chew you up and spit you out like it did him. Now, speaking of hard things, like life is hard. What's the hardest thing that you've had to do that made you want to almost give up or to give up completely? Just consider it for just a moment. What's the hardest thing that I've had to do that made me give up or be close to give up? I'll give you an example for me. I was started school, WGU, not kindergarten, right? WGU, Western Governors University. It was an online school. And this online school is a little different. You enroll, and when you enroll, you get 6 months to take as many classes as you want. And it's kind of, focused towards people whose lives are too busy to go inside of school. And so you get 6 months, you can take as many courses as you want in 6 months. So if you sign up and you only finish 4 courses in 6 months, then that's cool. Like that's fine with them. If you sign up and you take 1 course in 6 months, that's fine too, because you paid for it already. So they don't really care if you don't take the course. But what was different about this university was the fact that there was no homework, there were no classmates, there's no report cards, there's no professor, there's no grades, and most important of all, there's no group projects. I hated group projects, and for some reason, San Jac North, right here, just up the road, they love projects. I think the professors are just trying to dish out as much work as possible. Vivi's like, yes, absolutely. They love projects. I remember this one project that was assigned to us. Hey, you have 6 weeks to do this project. You're in groups. There you go. Get started, And I remember texting my group immediately. Hey, yo, what's up? My name is Jordan. Let's work on this project together. We'll divvy it up. We'll split up the responsibilities, and that's how we'll handle it. Usually, I'm a procrastinator, but I was like, I'm not going to do it with this. Well, that group chat was like no one responded. Then a few days later or a week later, I was like, hey, so I went ahead and divided the work evenly, so you could just check the Google PowerPoint, the Google Slides, and all the slides are there. Just fill in your research. Then a few more weeks went by, nothing. And I was like, hey, y'all, just letting y'all know we got like 2 more weeks left, nothing. Finally, the day before the project was due, all 4 people in my group decided to text, hey, yo, so what's up with the project? Like, are we gonna meet or? Well, then why don't you go look at the messages above? I sent plenty of messages that you could have got. Anyway, I said, hey, guys, don't worry about it. I went ahead and finished the project. I'll make sure I'll give you credit, all right? And so on the Google slide, on the cover slide, I put created by Jordan, invented by Jordan, illustrated by Jordan, directed and produced by Jordan. I got all the credit. And I sent an email to the professor saying they didn't do anything. Here's the screenshots to back it up. Make sure you give them zeros. Thank you. You're not going to do that to me. I hate group projects. And so when they said, when what WGU said no homework, no projects, no other classmates, I said, hey, I think I'm gonna sign up for this. I'm gonna go check it out. And so that's exactly what I did. And so I signed up and enrolled on February 5th, 2022. That's when I had access to all the courses that I wanted. Now, this was difficult because I challenged myself. I said, okay, I have about 21 courses to take, about 21 courses to take. I'm gonna finish it in 1 year. So I'm gonna get my bachelor's in just 1 year. I'm falling behind, I need to catch up, so I'm really gonna lock in. And so I started studying. You can ask Blair if you don't believe me. I don't study, by the way. Or like when I was in school, middle school, high school, I didn't study. I failed, then I went to tutorials, because if you went to tutorials, you get 20 or 30 extra points on what you failed, right? Miss, I'm here, right? Make sure you give me that credit. And so I was never a guy that studied. For WGU, I started studying 40, 50 hours a week, on top of working full-time, on top of teaching the youth on Wednesdays and Saturdays, on top of being an active father and a loving husband. Why'd you laugh at that? And a wonderful son. I mean, I was just busy and I was locked in for 40 to 50 hours a week. I was studying every 9 to 11 days. I was taking a course. I was taking the test because there was a test at the end of it, and you have to prove that you have mastered what you learned. This is at your own pace, by the way, right? I already mentioned that. And so I'm studying, and these tests, they were not these simple fill-in-the-blank tests. They weren't like match and drop. These were the hardest. I mean, the test was designed to kind of break your spirit. Like as you're taking it, every answer that you submit, your spirit was broken. You were questioning, is this degree really worth it? Like, I don't want to be alive anymore. Like, this was a very difficult test. And you know, I would go into it with a strategy that my first grade teacher taught me: skip the questions that you don't know, right? And then you kind of build up that, that feeling like, hey, I'm kind of smart, because you're skipping all of them, and then you do the ones that you do know. And so that's exactly what I was doing. On the first test, I logged in and I signed in. And by the way, I should just mention, the tests are proctored. So there's someone live watching you. And at random moments, they will say, show me your ID. Turn the camera around, so there was no one in the room. So those kind of, and you couldn't cheat, right? Quizlet, there was no Chegg.com, hello? There was nothing. I looked at it. There's no way to cheat. So I'm locked in, I'm taking the test, and let me skip the first one. All right, first one's kind of tricky. They try to trick you on the first one, all right? Well, all right, second one, I don't even know what that's asking. Third one. Ooh, you know what you're doing. Fourth, fifth, sixth, 37th. And I'm like, yo, there's like 80 questions. I'm on 50% of the test, and I do not know. Mind you, like I said, I'm putting 40, 50 hours a week, 9 days, about 80, 90 hours studying for just this one course. And so, I mean, I'm telling you, ask Blair. By the time I would finish studying and take the test, I would be sitting in front of my laptop. I would be sweating through my shirt. I don't know why. I've never been an anxious test taker. I was super anxious. I would sweat. I would sit there for 2 or 3 hours. But surprisingly, I passed my first test. And I was like, what? How? Like, what? And then I passed my second test. And then I passed my third test and my fourth test. By the way, I'm still sweating. It never got easier. I'm still literally, my shirt would, if you did this, it would drip sweat. Like, it was intense. My fifth test, my sixth test, my seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th. I was like, yo, like, I'm unstoppable. But every test that I was passing, I'm telling you, my spirit was corroding. I was becoming a shell of my former self. When my wife would talk to me, dear, you want to eat pasta or you want to eat nachos? And I would say nominal interest. That was because business management is what I was taking the courses in. And it was just like, I'm talking about compounding. Dang, like, look at that. Like, the PTSD is coming back. Compounding interest. It was just a lot. It was a lot of pressure that I put upon myself. I didn't have to do it in a year, but I said, I'm going to do it. And I wanted to give up every single, in the middle of every test, I was like, bro, this is not even worth it, bro. This is not worth it. My homeboy said he could put me on in his job. He said it's always a homeboy. He's gonna put me on, and he's a promoter, a marketer for a Fortune 500 company. But I was driving one day and I passed him up on the corner and he had the chicken suit on. I said, oh, he's a marketer, all right. He's promoting something, but in the chicken suit. I'm not gonna do that. And so I would go back and I would take the test. That was the hardest thing I had to do. It made me want to quit. Now, we're going to take a look in the story. If you want to pull out your Bibles, we're going to look at the story of John chapter 21. And we're going to read about these guys in a boat fishing They're having a very difficult time. So difficult, in fact, they want to give up. It starts off like this. Afterward, Jesus appeared again to his disciples by the Sea of Galilee. It happened this way. Simon, Peter, Thomas, also known as Didymus, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, that's crazy, the two other disciples were together. I'm going out to fish, Simon Peter told them. And they said, we'll go with you. So they went and they got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. So let's stop right here for some context. At this point in the story, Jesus had been crucified. He had been placed in the tomb. He has resurrected, and he's appeared to several people, including some of the disciples. And he reveals himself, and these guys go, oh my God, I'm going to go fishing. And is Israel in here today? Israel? No? Oh, he's not. He's watching kids. If you go fishing, fishing's a good way to kind of clear the mind. Am I right? I don't go fishing, but that's what I've heard. Chino's saying no. Okay, well, that's what I heard from people who are like patient, right? Okay, there we go. He's saying yes. You clear the mind. And so I'm thinking in their shoes, the disciples, the guy that they had been walking with for 3.5 years, he's killed. And then he just appeared and he was like, yo, what's the move? What we doing? And they're like, oh my God, I'm going fishing. Now, mind you, the disciples, that was their occupation before following Jesus. They were fishermen. That was their job. That was how they put, food on the table, literally and figuratively. They had money, right? That was their job. And so they went to go fishing. Let's look at verse 4. Verse 4, it says, early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. He called out to them, friends, haven't you any fish? No, they answered. Okay, so two things stick out to me right here. The disciples started fishing, let's say, it says that evening, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 6 or 7 p.m., because if you've gone fishing, you don't go in the middle of the day, am I right? The heat, it heats up the water, so the fish go lower. So the best thing to do is go in the morning or at nighttime when the water's not too hot. See, I did some research, bro. I did some research. And so they go around 6, maybe 7 o'clock. They caught nothing. Verse 4 tells us early in the morning. And then it also tells us that Jesus called out to them. So he didn't walk up to them on the shore. He said, they're still in the water the next day. And he goes, yo, y'all caught fish yet? Nope. I wonder if they all answered in unison. No, because it says they answered, right? Were the different no's or all in unison? I don't know. But what I know, I'm not a fishing expert, but what I do know is if you're sitting in a boat for 12 hours and you haven't got one nibble, you got to switch up the strategy just a little bit. You got to do something a little bit different, right? The first hour passes, that's fine. The fish, they just waking up. They're rubbing the barnacles out of their eyes. They're kind of getting used to it. The sunlight rays are blinding them. 2 hours pass, and, the fish are a little nervous. They just a little nervous. They see the hooks, so it's all right. They're going to get tricked in just a minute. 3 hours pass. Hey, man. Hey, let me see how you did that hook. How did you hook that bait? Did you do it the way my Theo showed you or no? Right? Like, nah, we're doing something wrong here. Maybe, I'm pretty sure they argued. In 12 hours, they said, well, maybe you have to row towards the middle of the sea, a little further out. The fish are out there. Maybe they said, we got to cast the net on this side. No, we got to switch it on this side. Actually, we're going to put the net on this side, and y'all going to put y'all's reels on this side. They're going to see the reel. They're going to get scared. They're going to swim into your net. You're going to pull it up. I don't know if that's how fishing works, but I saw it on Looney Tunes one time, and so that's my area of expertise, right? I don't know, but if you're out there for 12 hours, you're not fishing anymore. You're fighting frustration, right? And I'm pretty sure that we're arguing amongst each other. Now, let's be honest. Sometimes life feels like that. You're doing everything you know how to do, and still nothing's working. You're showing up, you're putting in effort, you're trying to stay faithful, but the bills keep stacking up, right? The pain is piling on. The answers that you need still aren't coming. That legal trouble that you got in a couple years ago or when you were younger, it feels like you never moved past from it, right? The diagnosis the doctor gave you when you visited for a headache, it caught you off guard, and suddenly everything shifted. You lose someone that you love, and the grief knocks the wind out of you, and somewhere in God's silence, we start to think things like, I give up on trying to change my child. I've prayed, I've cried, I've talked to them, it's not working. I give up on trying to get through to my parents. They're hard-headed, they're stuck in their ways. I'm done trying. I give up on the vision that I've had on my life. I thought I'd be further by now. School didn't work out, my business plan didn't work out, and I'm tired of starting over. I give up on peace. Just give me something that numbs the pain, even if it's temporarily. I'm tired of waiting on God to fix what feels still broken. Everyone with me so far? Now, remember that how I was acing test after test, right? I just talked about it a few moments ago. Acing test after test. Does anyone remember what course I'm on? Yes, I took my 12th one. I passed it. I'm on my 13th course. Now, the cool thing about WGU, this should be like a promo for them. I should send it to them, right? I'm talking to all these people. They're going to sign up now. WGU, you can look at like reviews of the course that you're going to take. You can't put answers or anything like that, but people will leave reviews. This is the hardest course that I've taken. And that's exactly what I saw for course number 13. Actually, the first one, they put it in bold. It was the headline. They said, "You will not pass this course." Who are you talking to? Ain't talking to me. I did this in my seat. Ooh, I let it whiz past me. All right, it was not going to me. I scrolled down just one. The second one said, "This is the hardest course that I've taken in my life. However long it takes you to study, multiply it by 3, you still won't pass." You're studying wrong then, brother. I don't know what to tell you. You don't got the strategies that I have. I got a great strategy. The third person said, "Oh my God, I'm going to not breathe anymore." I said, "Oh my God." I said, "You ain't talking to my God, right?" Hey, look, I commented, "God bless y'all, but I'm built different." All right? I'm just built different. I just passed 12. Boom, 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 boom. I'm passing them. It was hard, and I'm passing them. So, I did my thing. I started studying how I studied. Okay, check. I did exactly, nothing changed. I didn't let them, what I did change? I said, well, let me just take a couple extra days. Nothing too crazy, but I'm going to take a couple extra days, and I'm studying. Instead of reading the textbook once, I'm reading it 4 times. I'm printing out all the quizzes. I'm justifying my answers. I'm showing my work. Interest rate. That's the only thing I learned. Interest rate, employment law, and all that other stuff. I don't know what. If you're starting a business, I'm not the business management. I don't know how what. All that went out the window. I'm doing my thing. Okay, cool. So I finished studying. I'm feeling good. I start the test, body drenched in sweat. So everything is going according to plan. Nothing has changed. I'm sweating. Now, when I mentioned earlier there's no grades at WGU, I'm telling the truth. There's nothing to grade, but you need to pass the test, right? And so I'm gonna give you an example of what I saw whenever I would take the test. This is what you would see. When you press submit, it would load, and this bar would come up. Unsatisfactory means you're dumb. Approaching competence means you're kind of dumb. Competent means you are competent. You know the subject that you were studying. And an exemplary means you are business management material. You know everything that there is to know. So that's what would come up, and the bar would show you where you were at according to the test. Now let me ask you this. Now that you have that information, do you think that I landed in the red, which is unsatisfactory, or I was exemplary? Wait, keep in mind, I studied, instead of 90 to 110 hours, I studied 150 hours. I printed all my quizzes. I had 400 flashcards. I was putting in work. Keep in mind, the reviews, everyone said, you will not pass. However much you study, multiply it by 2, it's still not enough. Unsatisfactory or exemplary? What do you think? Hey. Whoa, watch your mouth. JD said, approaching competence, and he is correct. But let me show you where on the chart I was at. I was one question away from crossing that threshold. And this is what I did right here. This is my laptop. I saw it. I started breathing. I walked off. I didn't talk for the rest of the night. Hey, babe, how'd it go? Oh. I didn't eat. You hungry? I didn't text. I didn't doom scroll. I didn't shower. No, I showered. Look at you. They dirty? Nah. I saw heads twitch. They're about to say it. I didn't shower. That's hilarious. No, I didn't. You know what else I didn't do? I didn't touch my laptop. Those 12 courses that I knocked out, I did it in 4 months. My goal was 6 months, 21 courses. In 4 months, I did 12. I was like halfway through. Would I meet my goal? I don't know, but I was burning through it. I had 2 months left, and I did not touch my laptop again for 2 months. Blair would go, hey, so how are the classes going? Good. They're going good. They are going good. I did 12 in 4 months. You still working on them? Don't worry. Hey, mind your business, woman, all right? The school would start calling me. Hey, what's up? We're just checking in on you. You're making good progress. We're just following up while you haven't, whatever. And block. I would get emails from the admin. Hey, everything okay? You need to log in or anything? What, you having trouble? Block. I did not care, and I gave up. I don't know. You see how, it built up, crushing defeat by 1 or 2. I don't know how it's graded, but, by 1. Have you been there? Yeah, you've been there, all right? Maybe a passion, a hobby that you had, and it didn't end up the way you wanted, and so you gave it up, right? That business plan, you never got off the ground floor. It was a little harder, a little bit more expensive than you thought, and so you gave it up. That stubborn child or that hard-headed parent that you've prayed for. You've invited them to church. You invited them to the encounter. You've invited them to the Bible study. You invited them to the basketball tournament April 5th. And God has still been silent. You didn't see results. In fact, you did see results. The situation got worse. And so naturally, what do? I give up. I'll throw in the towel. I'm done praying, right? You put it to the side, you ignore it, and life moves on. The disciples that we read about, they've been on this boat for how many hours? About 12 hours, roughly speaking. They're fed up, and they've given up, and just as they're about to call it a day, Jesus calls out to them. He says, let's take a look. He said, throw your net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some. Now, I hate when people give me unsolicited advice. I didn't ask for your opinion. I didn't ask for your thoughts. I didn't ask for your advice. All right, I have all the answers up here. Ask Blair. I have all the answers up here. All right, I'm the man with the plan. Have you thought of throwing it to the right side? If I was a disciple, I would have said some words that you couldn't say in the Bible. All right, I would have said some unbiblical words to Jesus, who they didn't know it was Jesus. I would have said, does he realize that there's 2 sides of this boat? And for 12 hours, we haven't been aiming in one direction. We've probably switched it up, right? Bro thought he had a revolutionary idea. Throw your net on the other side. Oh, but you know what? They actually do listen. I'm just a bad guy because the verse tells us when they did throw the net to the other side, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. This made me think about how many times we're right on the edge of breakthrough. We're so close to seeing results, and we quit. We give up right before everything changes. Hey, have you seen someone gamble? And I ain't talking about no penny slots. I'm talking about when me and Blair went to the casino on the cruise. She said, I want to do the slot machine. I said, you got $7. That's all I'm giving you. Make it count, because I hate losing money. And we're sitting at this table watching this guy bet big. There's a big crowd. And bro was like, 5,000. It was, what is that when it spins? What is that called? Roulette. He's playing roulette. 5,000. He's putting the numbers. Lost. 5,000. Lost. 5,000. Lost. 5,000. Lost. I said, oh my God, please stop. Give me money. I'm not exaggerating, y'all. 5,000. Lost. His wife comes. I don't know where she's going. Stop spending money. I'm almost there. 5,000. Lost. Oh my goodness. L after L. But they keep going back. Why? They're convinced it's right on the other side. One more try, and I'm so close to hitting the jackpot. Let me ask you this. What if you treated God like that? Every loss, every challenge, every obstacle, every problem you face, we go back and we pray, God, please, one more chance, one more chance, one more chance. Keep going back. We're desperate. We're fully invested because we believe he's the jackpot. What if we put all of our energy, all of our time, all of our effort into seeking him because we know, we trust it's going to pay off. I know it is. Here's something to consider. What if you gave up on your marriage, not knowing that healing was right around the corner? You gave up on your spouse, not realizing that your prayers were this close to breakthrough. What if you gave up on your future, on the thing that God called you to do because it was taking longer than expected? Let's be real. Some of us gave up on going back to school. Some of us gave up on that dream we've had since we were younger. Some of us gave up on trying again because failure felt safer than disappointment. You used to pray until silence made you stop. You used to serve until people made you bitter. You used to love until someone broke your heart. What if your breakthrough was on the other side of one more try, one more step, or one more prayer?